We were inspired to create the Forest Refuge. It's probably about 25 years ago. Actually, this was in the late 90s. And IMS was flourishing. We were getting a lot of retreatants. And we were trying to envision what the next step might be. Whether just to enlarge IMS and make a bigger hall and have bigger retreats. And nobody really was too enthusiastic about that idea. Well, what would be the next step? And in the course of the discussion, I was reminded of my own earlier practice in India, which I loved. Because at that time, there were not formal meditation courses. I was just practicing in India, basically on my own, but with teacher support. So I would go visit my teacher, Munindraji, several times a week, or maybe 4 times a week, to report on my practice. And the rest of the time, I was just practicing on my own. And I loved it. I really just loved it, because I was creating my own schedule, and following my own natural rhythm of practice. And I thought, wouldn't it be fantastic to create a place where people could do long-term practice with support, but with a lot of individual responsibility, right? So people could find their own rhythm and settle into their own unfolding practice. And so people really got on board with the idea of creating a place where that kind of practice could be done. And part of the vision of that was also to provide a place where people could come for varying lengths of time, and it has served that function. And we had some people who stayed for years in practice. And that's a bit unusual, but many people spend many months at a time. So that really is fulfilling the initial vision, what we thought would be possible.
Well, you would have to understand that this project was an idea in Joseph Goldstein's mind for many years before it actually started. I can remember being on retreat with him where he was talking about being on retreat himself and how his mind would think about what an ideal retreat center would look like, how it would be structured, and where the med hall would be, and all the different ins and outs of it. So in a certain kind of way, I suppose we're beneficiaries of Joseph's self-described papancha, or ruminating mind. But it kind of looks like the time that he put into that thought was really beneficial, because when it came time to actually build what he idealized, there were a lot of good ideas in place.